The giant screen in the United Nations Hall showed a ship unlike any seen before. It hung in space above Earth, smooth and silver, with strange blue lights pulsing along its sides. The room fell silent. "They're hailing us again," said General Davis, his voice tight. "They want an answer." President Wilson stood up slowly. Her face showed no fear, though her hands shook slightly. "Tell them yes. We accept their invitation." 3 days later, Tom Harper checked his spacesuit one last time. Next to him, Alina Rodriguez did the same. They were Earth's chosen ones, Tom for his diplomatic skills, and Alina for her scientific knowledge. "Ready to make history?" Alina asked with a nervous smile. Tom nodded, ready to show these aliens that humans aren't just some backwater species. Their shuttle, the best Earth could build, looked small and clumsy next to the alien ship. As they docked, Tom felt pride mixed with worry. This was humanity's big moment. The door opened with a hiss. Light spilled in, too bright at first. When their eyes adjusted, they saw them. 3 tall beings with smooth, pale blue skin and large eyes that seemed to look through rather than at the humans. "Welcome," said the tallest one in perfect English. "I am Kor, representative of the Galactic Alliance. You may follow me." The inside of the ship made Earth's best technology look like children's toys. The walls glowed with data. Doors opened before they reached them. Other aliens of different shapes and colors moved with purpose, barely glancing at the humans. They entered a large round room where a dozen aliens sat in a half-circle. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange that Tom couldn't even guess which parts were heads and which were limbs. "The Earth representatives," Kor announced flatly. A red-skinned alien with 4 arms leaned forward. "So these are the, what do you call yourselves?" "Humans. How quaint." Tom stepped forward. "We are honored to meet the Galactic Alliance. Earth hopes to establish friendly relations and learn from your advanced civilizations." A sound like bells rang out. Tom realized it was laughter. "Learn?" said a crystalline being whose body sparkled under the lights. "Your species has barely mastered basic space travel. Your bodies are inefficient. Your technology primitive. Your emotions cloud your judgment." Alina spoke up, her voice steady despite the insults. "We may be young as a spacefaring race, but humans are adaptable. We solve problems in unique ways." "Yes," said Kor. "We've observed your unique solutions. War, pollution, waste. Quite fascinating in a primitive sense." For 3 days, Tom and Alina toured the Alliance station. They saw wonders beyond imagination. Planets remade to suit their owners, beings who had lived for thousands of years, ships that could cross the galaxy in weeks. And everywhere, they heard the same thing. Humans were weak, emotional, primitive. On the final day, the Alliance Council made their decision. Earth will be granted observer status, Kor announced. You may establish a small trading post at the edge of your solar system. Full membership is centuries away, at best. Tom wanted to argue but knew it would only prove their point about human emotions. "We accept with gratitude," he said, the words bitter in his mouth. As their shuttle headed back to Earth, Alina looked at the shrinking Alliance station through the viewport. "They think we're weak because we're not like them," she said. Tom nodded. They'd forgotten something important about Earth's history. "What's that?" "The most dangerous thing in our world was never the strongest creature," Tom said, his eyes hard. "It was the one that could adapt." Alina smiled. "Then let's show them how humans adapt." Behind them, the stars shone cold and distant. Somewhere out there, the Alliance watched and waited, certain of their superiority. They would learn differently soon enough. 5 years passed. Earth had changed. The small trading post at the edge of the solar system brought alien technology that helped humans reach Mars and Europa faster than expected. But the price was high. The Alliance traders treated humans like children, charging 10 times what they asked from other species. Tom Harper, now Earth's Space Relations Director, stared out his office window at the busy spaceport below. New ships with Alliance-inspired designs took off every hour, heading to the colonies. "Director, you need to see this," said his assistant, rushing in without knocking. On the screen, a strange ship tumbled toward Earth. It wasn't Alliance design. All wrong angles and patches, like something built from scraps. Smoke trailed behind it. "They're broadcasting a distress signal," the assistant said, "in 12 different languages. One of them is English." "Put them through," Tom ordered. A face appeared on screen, humanoid but with ridge-like bumps running from forehead to neck. Blood of an odd purple color ran from a cut above its eye. "This is Captain Dex of the free vessel Wanderer," it said, voice crackling. "Requesting emergency landing. We are refugees." They followed close behind. Before Tom could answer, alarms sounded. 3 Alliance ships had appeared near Jupiter, moving fast toward Earth. "Sir," said General Wallace from the military line, "Alliance ships are demanding we hand over the damaged vessel. They say the crew are criminals." Tom remembered the mockery, the high prices, the constant reminders of human weakness. "Tell our ships to protect the damaged vessel. Bring it to Earth safely." When the Wanderer landed, medical teams rushed to help. 28 aliens of 7 different species stumbled out, many injured. Captain Dex, steadier than the rest, approached Tom. "You risk much, helping us," Dex said. "The Alliance doesn't forgive those who defy them." "We're used to being underestimated," Tom replied. "Now what are you running from?" The aliens called themselves outsiders, species that had either left the Alliance or been rejected by it. For years, they had lived on the edges of known space, until something found them. "We call it the Void," Dex explained in the secure meeting room. His crew and Earth's leaders gathered around a table. "It consumes everything: planets, stars, even light itself." Elena Rodriguez, now Earth's chief scientist, studied the data Dex provided. "This can't be natural," she said. "The pattern is too deliberate." "The Alliance has known about it for centuries," said Mira, Dex's second-in-command. Her skin shimmered like oil on water. "They kept it secret from lesser species like yours." "And now?" President Wilson asked. "Now it grows faster. Alliance worlds are falling. Their perfect technology fails against it." The meeting was interrupted when Alliance ships entered Earth's atmosphere without permission. They hovered over major cities worldwide. "Attention Earth government," came the familiar voice of Kor. "You harbor dangerous fugitives. Surrender them immediately or face consequences." President Wilson looked at Tom, then at Dex and the other outsiders. 5 years of disrespect, of being treated as lesser beings, made the decision easy. "Tell them," she said to Tom, "that Earth grants sanctuary to all who seek it. The outsiders stay under our protection." The Alliance ships powered up weapons. Earth's new defense systems, built with technology reverse-engineered from trading post-scraps, activated in response. "They won't fire," Elena said confidently. "They think we're too weak to fight back, so they never bothered to study our military history." She was right. After a tense hour, the Alliance ships retreated. That night, Dex showed them more data about the Void. "It's coming this way next," he said grimly. "The Alliance abandons this sector. You helped us, but I fear we've doomed you." Tom exchanged looks with Elena. "Maybe," Tom said, "or maybe Earth is exactly what the galaxy needs right now." Dr. Marcus Bell had not slept in 3 days. The data from the outsiders filled his lab screens. As Earth's top physicist, he was tasked with understanding what the Void actually was. "It doesn't make sense," he muttered, rubbing his tired eyes. "Nothing should be able to consume energy this way." Behind him, Captain Dex watched silently. The alien had spent every day in the lab, answering questions and explaining things the outsiders had witnessed. "The Alliance's greatest minds studied it for centuries," Dex said. "They found no answer." Marcus smiled. "Maybe that's the problem. The greatest minds think alike." 3 more Alliance worlds had fallen in the past month. Reports smuggled by outsider friends, told of perfect cities suddenly going dark, of advanced ships disappearing mid-flight. The pattern was speeding up. Elena entered the lab carrying fresh coffee. Any progress? Marcus pointed to a simulation on the main screen. The void doesn't just eat matter and energy. It seems to digest patterns. Patterns? Elena asked. Order. Structure. The more perfect and organized something is, the more it attracts the void. Dex moved closer to the screen. This would explain why Alliance technology fails so completely. Their systems are built on perfect mathematical principles. Every part works in exact harmony. Elena thought for a moment. And humans? Marcus grinned. We're messy. Random. Our technology is full of patches and workarounds. Our brains make leaps of logic that don't follow perfect patterns. Our weakness might be our strength, Elena whispered. The next day, they presented their findings to Earth's leaders and the outsider captains. Marcus showed simulations of how the void consumed perfectly ordered systems, but struggled with chaotic ones. Human brains are naturally chaotic, he explained. Our thoughts jump randomly. We make connections that aren't logical. This noise might be the key to disrupting the void. President Wilson looked skeptical. Are you suggesting we fight this thing with human messiness? Exactly, Marcus said. We can build devices that generate the same kind of chaotic patterns our brains do. I call them chaos engines. The room buzzed with conversation. Some thought the idea was brilliant. Others called it desperate. Before they could decide, alarms sounded. A single Alliance ship had entered Earth's space. To everyone's surprise, Kor himself requested to land. The same representative who had mocked humans years before now walked into the meeting room, looking less confident than before. The void has taken 7 major Alliance worlds, he announced without greeting. Our council requests information on your research. Tom stood up, anger clear on his face. Now you want our help. After calling us primitive. After threatening us. Kor's face showed no emotion, but his voice was softer. The Alliance acknowledges that we underestimated Earth's potential usefulness. Usefulness? Elena laughed bitterly. Not even an apology. Marcus stepped forward with his datapad. We believe the void feeds on patterns. The more perfect and predictable something is, the more vulnerable. Kor reviewed the information, his large eyes blinking rapidly. This is unorthodox thinking. It's human thinking, Tom said proudly. After hours of discussion, Kor reluctantly admitted that Alliance scientists had noticed similar data points, but dismissed them as errors. Their perfect thinking couldn't imagine an enemy that targeted perfection itself. We will take this information to the Council, Kor said as he prepared to leave. The Alliance may need to reconsider Earth's status. After Kor departed, Elena turned to Tom and Marcus. They're still treating us like we're beneath them. For now, Marcus said, his eyes on the starry sky visible through the window. But the void is coming, and when perfect solutions fail, they'll beg for our imperfect ones, Tom finished. It won't work, said the Alliance engineer, his thin face twisted with doubt. You're asking us to build weapons that deliberately function imperfectly. It goes against every principle of Alliance technology. Dr. Marcus Bell tried to stay patient. For 2 weeks, Earth's scientists had worked alongside reluctant Alliance experts to develop the first chaos engine. The meetings were tense, with the aliens constantly questioning human methods. It's not imperfect, Marcus explained for what felt like the 100th time. It's unpredictable. There's a difference. Elena stepped forward with a small device. It looked simple, just a metal box with a few blinking lights. This prototype generates patterns based on recorded human brainwaves, she said. No 2 outputs are ever the same, but they all carry a signature of human thought. The Alliance representatives looked at the device like it might explode. How can we mass-produce something with no fixed pattern? Asked another alien. Tom Harper, watching from the corner, finally spoke up. The same way we mass-produce humans. Each unique, but all sharing common elements. The meeting ended with no agreement. The Alliance wanted to modify the design to make it more efficient. The humans refused. Later that night, Marcus and his team finished the first full-sized Chaos engine without Alliance help. It was the size of a small car, humming with energy drawn from the randomness of human brain patterns collected from volunteers. "We need to test it," Elena said. "But how?" The answer came sooner than expected. The next morning, sensors detected a small probe at the edge of the solar system. It wasn't Alliance design. It moved like smoke, darkening the space around it. "It's a Void Scout," Captain Dex confirmed. "The main body is still far away, but these scouts search for targets." President Wilson called an emergency meeting. "Dr. Bell, is your device ready?" "For a small target, yes," Marcus said. "But we haven't tested it." "Looks like we test it now," Tom said grimly. They loaded the Chaos engine onto Earth's fastest ship. Captain Lily Daniels, Earth's most decorated pilot, volunteered to fly the mission. "Get close enough for the engine to affect it, but not close enough to be consumed," Marcus instructed her. "We don't know its exact range." The mission was broadcast to the Alliance representatives. Most watched with obvious skepticism. A single ship, one whispered loudly enough to be heard, with an untested weapon based on brain noise. Tom ignored them, focusing on the mission display. Captain Daniels approached the Void probe carefully. When she was 5,000 miles away, she activated the Chaos engine. At first, nothing seemed to happen. The probe continued its steady approach. Then, something changed. The dark mass of the probe began to swirl erratically. Parts of it pulled away, then rejoined, as if confused. "It's working," Marcus shouted. "The random patterns are disrupting its ability to process what it's sensing." The probe tried to move closer to the ship, then suddenly retreated, growing smaller until it vanished completely. The room erupted in cheers. Even some of the Alliance representatives looked impressed, though they tried to hide it. "One small probe isn't the same as the main Void," an Alliance scientist warned. "True," Elena agreed, "but it proves our theory. The Void can't consume what it can't predict." That evening, the Alliance Council requested an official meeting. Their attitude had shifted subtly. The mockery was gone, replaced by a careful politeness. The Alliance formally requests Earth's assistance in developing these Chaos engines, their spokesperson said, clearly uncomfortable with the words. Tom smiled thinly. "And what does Earth receive in return?" "Recognition of Earth's contribution." "Not good enough," President Wilson replied firmly. "We want full Alliance membership and access to all technology." The Alliance representatives looked shocked at such boldness. "We will convey your terms to the Council," they said stiffly. As they left, Tom turned to Elena and Marcus. "They still think they're doing us a favor." "They'll learn," Elena said. "When the Void comes in full force, they'll learn exactly how much they need Earth's chaotic, imperfect, emotional humans." The emergency signal woke Captain Lily Daniels at 3 a.m. She was in her shuttle and heading to the command center within 10 minutes. When she arrived, Tom Harper and Elena Rodriguez were already there, faces grim as they watched the main screen. 3 Alliance worlds gone in the last 12 hours, Tom explained. "The Void is moving faster than anyone predicted." The screen showed recordings from the attacks. Perfect cities of crystal and metal were swallowed by darkness. Alliance defense systems fired in perfect formations and failed completely. "Where?" Lily asked. "The Centauri sector," Elena said. "Too close for comfort." In the month since the successful test against the Void probe, Earth had been building Chaos engines as quickly as possible. 50 were ready, with more under construction. Alliance worlds had ordered hundreds, but still insisted on improving the designs. "We received this an hour ago," Tom said, playing a new message. Kor's face appeared, showing emotion for the first time. "Fear." "Earth Command," he said, his voice shaking. "The colony world Luminex is under attack." We have 10,000 civilians with no means of escape. Our defense fleet has failed. We request, we beg for your assistance." Lily looked at Tom. "Luminex is one of the worlds that refused our primitive engines." Tom nodded. "And they called us foolish for suggesting they needed evacuation plans." President Wilson entered the room and went straight to the point. "Captain Daniels, we're sending 10 ships equipped with Chaos engines to Luminex. You'll command the mission." "A rescue mission?" Lily asked. "A rescue and defense mission," the president corrected. "Save who you can, but also show them what Earth can do." 16 hours later, Lily's fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Luminex. Half the planet was already covered in darkness, like black ink spreading across blue paper. "Alliance ships, this is Earth Fleet Captain Daniels," Lily broadcast. "We're here to help. Direct civilian ships to these coordinates for protection." At first, there was no response. Then a frantic voice answered. "Earth Fleet, our weapons have no effect. The void consumes everything in perfect order. Outer defenses first, then cities, then—" The transmission cut off. "All ships, activate Chaos engines," Lily ordered. "Form random, unpredictable patterns. No standard formations." The Earth ships moved like no military fleet had ever moved before. Some spun and twisted, others darted forward, then back. Each followed a pattern based on a different human's brainwaves. The void seemed confused. It reached for one ship, only to find it elsewhere. It tried to surround the fleet, but the ship's movements made no logical sense. "It's working," shouted Lily's second-in-command. "The void is retreating from our area." Lily saw her chance. "Create a corridor to the surface. Let's get those people out." For 6 hours, Earth ships darted and weaved, making space for civilian ships to escape. The Chaos engines pushed back the darkness just enough. They saved 7,000 people before the planet was completely consumed. When they returned to the Alliance station, something had changed. The aliens didn't look at the humans with mockery anymore. Many bowed their heads as Lily and her crew walked past. An Alliance Council member approached Lily directly, something that would have been unthinkable before. "Your unpredictability saved those people," he said, struggling with the words. "Our perfect ships, our perfect weapons, our perfect plans, all failed." "Sometimes perfect is the enemy of good," Lily replied. That night, the Alliance officially granted Earth full member status. "They need more than our technology now," Tom said as they celebrated the news. "They need our people, our human thinking." Alina raised her glass. "To human chaos. May it save the galaxy." Around them, Alliance representatives watched carefully, finally beginning to understand that the weakness they had mocked might be the only strength that mattered. Tom Harper stood at the window of the orbiting station, watching Earth shine blue and white below. In the 2 months since Luminex, humans had become heroes across the galaxy. Alliance worlds that once mocked Earth now begged for human crews with Chaos engines. "Sir," said an aide, rushing in, "the void has changed direction." Tom felt a chill. "Where is it heading?" "Here. It's coming straight for Earth." The Alliance Council called an emergency meeting. For once, humans sat at the main table as equals. "The void is intelligent," said Core, now Earth's strongest ally in the Council. "It recognizes the threat humans pose and seeks to eliminate it." Dr. Marcus Bell displayed the latest data. "It's moving 3 times faster than before. We have 5 days at most." President Wilson spoke firmly. "We need every ship with a Chaos engine here. Earth will be the line that the void cannot cross." The Council agreed. Within hours, ships from across the Alliance were on their way to Earth. For the first time in history, a united galaxy prepared to defend the small blue planet it had once dismissed. Captain Lily Daniels led the planning. "Standard defenses won't work. We need something bigger, something the void can't predict." Marcus had been working on exactly that, a planetary chaos shield. He explained, showing designs for massive chaos engines to be placed around Earth. If we link them to millions of human brain patterns at once, we might create enough unpredictability to confuse even the main void. Can you build it in 5 days? Tom asked. Marcus smiled tiredly. 3, if everyone helps. People across Earth volunteered to have their brain patterns recorded. Children, elderly, artists, scientists, millions of unique human minds contributing to the shield. Alliance engineers worked alongside humans, learning to embrace imperfection. On the 4th day, the void arrived. It's bigger than anything we've seen, Elena whispered as they watched it approach on the main screen. The darkness stretched across space, swallowing stars as it came. Tom, now Earth's defense minister, gave the order. Activate the Chaos Shield. The massive engines hummed to life. Around Earth, a shimmering barrier appeared, constantly shifting and changing like the surface of a soap bubble. No pattern repeated. No section stayed the same for more than seconds. The void struck the shield, and for a moment seemed to hesitate. It's working, someone shouted. Then the shield flickered. Sections darkened as the void pressed harder. We're losing the eastern quadrant, an operator called out. The pattern is becoming too predictable. Marcus rushed to the controls, switched to the backup brain patterns, used the children's section. The shield changed, becoming even more chaotic. The void retreated slightly, then attacked from a different angle. For hours, this dance continued. The shield would weaken, humans would adapt, the void would try a new approach. Alliance ships darted around the edges, their movements deliberately random, confusing the void's attempts to find patterns. In the command center, Tom watched Marcus and Elena work frantically to keep the shield unpredictable. They were exhausted, but their eyes shone with determination. The void is trying to learn our patterns, Marcus warned. Each time we change, it adapts faster. Then we need something it can't possibly predict, Elena said suddenly. She turned to Tom. We need to open the shield for a second and let Captain Daniels lead a direct attack. That's crazy, Tom said. The shield is all that's protecting Earth. Exactly, Elena replied. It's the last thing the void would expect, us deliberately dropping our main defense. Tom looked at the battle raging outside, then at the tired but determined faces around him. This was what humanity did best, the unexpected, the adaptive, the seemingly foolish risk that just might work. He nodded. Tell Lily to prepare her ships. We're going to show the void what human unpredictability really means. Ready all ships, Captain Lily Daniels ordered. Her fleet of 200 vessels, human and Alliance mixed together, waited at the edge of the Chaos Shield. On the command station, Tom Harper gave the final approval. Open the shield for exactly 5 seconds on my mark. Dr. Marcus Bell's fingers hovered over the controls. If this doesn't work, it will, Elena said firmly. Tom took a deep breath. 3, 2, 1. Mark. The shield flickered open like a door. Instantly, Lily's fleet shot through the gap, directly at the heart of the void. Behind them, the shield closed. The plan was simple but dangerous. Each ship carried a specially modified chaos engine programmed with the most unpredictable patterns humans could create. Dreams of children, thoughts of artists, the random ideas of people falling asleep. All ships, activate chaos burst on my command, Lily called. Remember, no formation, no patterns, fly by instinct alone. The void seemed confused by their approach. It had expected Earth to strengthen its shields, not send ships out into danger. Now, Lily ordered when they reached the densest part of the darkness. 200 chaos engines activated at once, each on a different frequency, each following patterns no computer could predict. The effect was immediate. The void writhed like a living thing in pain. Parts of it pulled away from other parts, breaking its unified attack. It's working, shouted Lily's second in command. The void is losing cohesion. On Earth, People watched their screens in hope and fear. The void's darkness had thinned, but it still surrounded the planet like a deadly fog. For 3 hours, Lily's fleet darted through the void, disrupting it everywhere they went. Alliance captains who had once scoffed at human chaos now flew with wild, unpredictable movements that would have earned them severe punishment in the past. Then something changed. The void began to retreat, pulling back from Earth. "It's leaving the solar system," Marcus reported, his voice filled with disbelief. The fleet pursued, driving the void further away. Where it had once been a massive cloud that could swallow worlds, it now broke into smaller fragments, each fleeing in different directions. 3 days later, the last wisps of the void disappeared from sensors. Earth had won. The celebration lasted for weeks. Alliance representatives who had once mocked humans as primitive now bowed deeply when meeting them. The galaxy that had laughed at Earth now looked to it for leadership. 6 months later, Tom Harper stood in the new Earth Embassy on the Alliance capital world. Once, humans had been granted only a small observer's office. Now they had the largest building in the diplomatic quarter. "Minister Harper," said Kor, approaching with a young alien beside him. "This is my son. He wishes to study at the new Human Thinking Academy on Earth." Tom smiled at the young alien. "What interests you most about human thinking?" "Your beautiful chaos," the child answered. "The way your minds make connections that shouldn't work, but do. Father says the future belongs to those who can think like humans." Across the galaxy, things were changing. Alliance ships now included chaos modules in their designs. Alliance schools taught creative unpredictability as a core subject. The perfect order that had once been their pride was giving way to a new appreciation for beautiful imperfection. In her lab on Earth, Elena worked with Marcus on new chaos engines that could detect any return of the void. They knew it was still out there, weakened but not destroyed. "They used to call us the weakest species in the galaxy," Elena said as they worked. "Now they send their children to learn from us." Marcus smiled. "Turns out our greatest weakness was our greatest strength all along." Outside, the stars shone in the night sky. Somewhere among them, former mockers now looked to Earth with respect and gratitude. The galaxy had begged for help, and humanity had answered.